Thursday, September 30th. I'm Rim.
I'm Scott.
And this is Geek Nights. Tonight, we have our thoughts with the GeekNights Book Club on The Golden Apples of the Sun by Ray Bradbury.
Let's do this.
So, our work for Project ST has been annoying mostly for the fact that the only lights we own are these kind of work lights that are not designed for video work in any way.
Well, I mean, didn't we buy them because you were trying to save money? And
Yeah, they were like $20. They came on the stand. They're super bright. They're hotter than the fucking sun.
Yeah, why don't we just put like something in front of them to, to make it even?
We did that. Still wasn't good enough. Because then they weren't bright enough, and they weren't that good, and they were still fucking hot.
Maybe we just need a better shield. Well, I mean, any lights you get can be fucking hot.
No, LEDs.
That's true.
See, the thing is, we were trying to save money back then when we bought that, and we were first delving into video, and then we gave up. Now that we're smart and serious, we're doing the Moran strategy. I'm just buying a real fucking set of lights. And actually, I learned something scary.
But I mean, LEDs, while that's well and good with the heat and the electricity usage and such,
they're
right?
also much brighter than those lights.
Yeah, but there's no professionals using LEDs.
Yeah, they do use them all the time.
Really?
Yeah.
Uh-huh.
I found some very high-end LED lights. Here's the trouble. I was looking on Amazon because I couldn't find many places to buy professional video lights online that weren't way overpriced, way beyond what we need, or very shady-looking sites that I do not trust for one shit.
Mm-hmm.
So on Amazon, I find all these kits, like Video Kit from this one company. And like every set of studio lights for photography or video is this one company. And they sell like these 2-light, 3-light, 4-light kits for like $200-$300. And a little investigation showed that not only are these kits the biggest pieces of shit you've ever seen, but you can get professional equipment with the same number of lights that are a lot brighter and a lot better for the same price, just not on Amazon.
Uh-huh.
But the only place
these aren't sold by Amazon. They're sold by other companies that are just selling through Amazon.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah, I mean, it's not Amazon isn't trying to rip you off.
I didn't say Amazon was.
Yeah, it's some other guy.
But doing some research, I found exactly what to get. For like $300, I can get a pretty professional like video studio setup, like everything I'm gonna need.
Mm-hmm.
And the best part is they're portable. They take freaking batteries if we want.
Oh snap!
For like 4 hours of light.
Whoa! But
Yeah.
because they're LEDs, you can get away with that.
Yeah, and they're still way brighter than what we have now. And we can use what we have now as a backfill light
All right.
if we need to. So it's all good. The only place online so far that I can find this one light that I actually want to buy is B&H.
Oh, bastard in hell. Yeah, I don't know.
And I can't. B&H has been I've never successfully entered a B&H.
It's always there's only one,
Yeah.
first of all, right? And the thing is, so people in New York are like such fans of this place, right? I went there once. I've never bought anything there, and like, the good things about it, it's a physical store. And it has stuff that no other physical store has in terms of like it has professional equipment. You know, if you look around New York City, most electronics places they're either Best Buy kind of places where they have consumer stuff, right? Or they are the sort of, those places, the touristy ones that just have like a million cameras in the window.
I've never understood those places because I've gone into them several times before I eventually stopped. They never had a deal that was better than Amazon.
What do you mean? They're not about deals. Those are places about being overpriced and to sell to tourists.
But they act like, check out all this cheap electronics we got. We got tons of stuff.
No, they got tons of overpriced stuff, like 2 years old cameras for twice as much as original price.
But you talk to the salesman and they act like they're like, yeah, we got these off a truck. This crazy deal. Check it out.
Yeah, right. No.
But with audio and with other sorts of professional things, like there's Sam Ash, but there's like 5 or 6 other places I can go to, and I can get all this stuff on Amazon or Same Day Music or whatever. But the stuff I want, these particular lights, I can only get from B&H and all those shady places.
Well, B&H, like, they actually have everything, and their prices, they're not as good as internet prices.
Except for this thing, because I can't find this thing anywhere. So
I guess,
B&H
but
has the best price, which is much lower than these shitty kits that are the same thing but worse on Amazon.
But for example, I went to look at my TV at B&H, and I bought it on Amazon for less.
That's the internet future until everyone does that and then the stores are gone.
Yeah, but B&H is like this big, weird store that just happens to have everything from consumer to professional level stuff. And the thing is, they make a ton of money because some people still like to go to stores. I don't know why. And other people, like professional TV and radio people and photographers in the city, all go there to, look at stuff and buy stuff and whatever,
Well, part of the reason they go there is that some of this stuff I can't find anywhere else.
I guess, but I guess if you're a professional, you need it now and your company's paying for it. So what do you care if it's on the internet for $10 less?
So I think we've covered all the good things about B&H.
Yeah.
So I go to their website today, right? I'm at work and I'm like, all right, this is what I'm going to buy. After work, I'll just go over there and just buy it. And then I'm like, oh, wait, no, even better. I'll just order it from their website. They sell stuff online. I go to the website and there's a pop-up over it that says, online ordering is unavailable until Saturday at 8 p.m. Eastern Time.
Yep.
Please, blah, blah, blah. Sorry for the inconvenience. And I forgot about the deal that we haven't talked about yet, the real reason why I hate B&H. So I was like, oh, crap. Oh, well, I'll just go to the store. It's right there. Well, right there meaning it's on the fucking west side.
It's on the other side of Madison Square Garden.
Yeah, it's at like 9th Avenue and 34th or something.
Yeah, something like that.
So I walk over there and it's closed.
Of course it's closed.
And I realized it's been closed for the last week and a half because of Sukkot.
No, it's Sukkot.
Sukkot?
Or Sukkot.
And right before that, it was closed for something else. And of course, it's closed every Friday because you see, B&H.
Well, it's Friday night and Saturday.
It's super Jewish.
It's owned by like the most religious Jews you can imagine.
They bring the online store down for holidays and the physical store.
Yeah. And basically, it's
so
like...
I figured I can't go there
nothing
Friday. I know I can't go there Friday. I'm already aware that, yeah, they're Jews. I can't do business with them on Friday. I thought I'd be safe Thursday. But, Scott, your people have so many holidays.
They don't have that many holidays.
Did you see that?
The thing is, when they do have a holiday, it's many days long.
It depends. There's got to be some one-day
They
holidays.
don't have... No, there's not that many. Most of them are like... For example, Yom Kippur is a one-day holiday.
There you go.
But Rosh Hashanah, right, is a multi-day holiday. And the last day of Rosh Hashanah is immediately followed by Yom Kippur. So it's actually part of another multi-day holiday.
Thing is, I think nerds are gonna... We have more holidays than the Jews at this point, I think.
Oh, yeah, probably.
I mean, talk like a pirate day.
Well,
that's
our problem is we make everything day. The Jews are like, yeah, day. Like, yeah, okay, yell at the sky a week. That's how you get it. You gotta work.
I had to yell at the sky 5 years.
And
it was
you know
called
what?
living in Rochester.
Yeah, Jews are like, you know what? No work every Friday night or Saturday, impossible. It's like they just like crank up the days on purpose.
So I can't get these lights now. I was gonna have them and shine them on you while we're doing the show.
It's like Paramus. They're closed on Sunday.
And I can't order them online. And this is bothering me. We're both really like not shit talking lately. And yet finally I'm like, all right, I'm getting off my ass. And I physically am incapable of doing the one thing I tried to do today.
I don't know why you even tried to go there.
Because I can't find anywhere else to get this fucking light.
Here's what you do. You ready? You go and you buy...
I found a similar light that I can get in another store, but they don't have the light I want, and the similar light is the next step up. It's $8,000.
Here's what you do. You go and you find what kind of light bulbs are in there.
No, there's no light bulbs. It's an LED.
You buy the LEDs.
No, it's an array of LEDs.
You go buy a huge box full of LEDs.
Yeah, Scott.
And we can light them up.
Now.
Why not?
Do you know how pain in the ass it'd be to set that up?
I have soldering iron. I can do it.
All right, you do it then. I'll work on something else.
Go
with
figure out
ST.
what LED we need and buy enough of them. And
Doesn't say.
What do you mean?
Doesn't say what LED it uses.
Go buy the brightest white LED you can find. And get a whole box full of them.
Yeah, and you're gonna solder these in and have the right light balance and the white balance, the right temperature color, and have them focus so that they're diffused properly without needing a screen or a gel or anything.
What do you mean? You just put them in a grid on a circuit board.
All right, and do you know exactly what to do to power them correctly?
You get one resistor on each one.
With 8 AA batteries.
You get a resistor on each one.
And you're gonna make my AC adapters, and you're gonna make the poles and the stands and the.
You don't get an AC adapter. You just buy a DC adapter.
Yeah, and what the fuck am I gonna plug that into? My power supply, firewire?
Well, no, you just buy one of these guys, and it goes in the wall, and then DC comes out the other end.
Yeah, Scott, you get on that.
I have one.
I'm just gonna wait until they stop doing their holiday BS.
You're actually gonna go there?
But
you won't shop in Paramus.
No, I won't shop in Paramus.
But you'll shop at the Jew store, which is far worse.
Here's the secret. I am very, very willing to jump onto protests and things like that when I am protesting something that I would not have engaged in anyway. There's nothing in Paramus I want or need. I don't need anything from Scientology, so I boycott the shit out of them. You're not going to see me boycotting Amazon for much.
Lord.
Yeah.
Such a high moral convictions.
So you got any news here? Anything
It's
to
not
talk
really
about?
news, just this article I wanted to discuss, right?
Ooh.
It was in the Sunday book review of the New York Times and the internets. And he basically talks about how, because you always yell at me for like forgetting everything I read in a book, pretty much.
See, it's okay to forget, like, oh, did he go to the town of Bethlehem or Nazareth? It's another thing to forget, like, the name of the protagonist from a series of books you read.
But the point, this guy talks about how, he has these.
Scott, who's the main character in Loch Lamora?
Loch Lamora.
Okay, I got one down. Who's his sidekick?
Gene.
Okay. Gene what?
What were the twins' names?
You don't remember?
Do you?
The twins.
What were their names?
The twins.
Well, they had names.
The twins.
So and so and so and so.
Yeah, the twins.
Yeah, so you don't remember.
I don't remember. 'Cause that wasn't that good of a book.
Anyway, the point is, this guy has this whole article here, and he talks about how while he remembers reading books and he remembers moments of in them and feelings and these sorts of things, he can't even a book he just read or a book that had a huge impact on him or he can't really remember that many specific things. Like he can't tell you every scene in order. It's the same. And I was like, oh man, that's just like me. I can't remember shit. And he went around asking all these people like, hey, is it okay that you don't remember anything in the book? And they're like, yeah, of course. It's like everything that you don't remember from all these books still gets into your subconscious and they all get added together into sort of and they change you in some way that you can't just because you don't remember a fact.
I definitely agree with that. And also, it's kind of like you have a pointer array in your brain, but you might not have the pointers to, the names of these characters or whatever, but on the surface or connected to the name of the book even anymore. But there's a pointer there somewhere, and you might hit it while you're looking for something else.
Yeah. But anyway, it was an interesting little 2-page dealy about how
Though at the same time,
it's important and good to read books, even though you don't remember anything. You might not remember facts or, details from books, like characters' names or places or sequences of events. That doesn't mean that it wasn't worthwhile to read that book.
But at the same time,
or that the
Scott,
book had no meaning.
I only have this problem with books that I didn't particularly like or that didn't speak to me. I can go into great goddamn detail about everything in The Prince of Nothing.
How many times did you read The Prince of Nothing?
Once.
All right.
Lord of the Rings?
Yeah, what about it?
What was the dwarf's name?
Which one?
The one, Gimli.
I mean, because I was thinking, because you said Lord of the Rings.
I realized I have
You said Lord of the Rings, so my brain went to the beginning of the story, and it always goes to the Hobbit, so I was like, so Lumen and Glooming and
yeah, Thorin and
Thorin, and it's like a whole pile of dwarves, and now it's like freaking Snow White.
Dwarf Fortress has ruined me. Whenever I picture the Hobbit now, I can't but imagine Thorin just losing his shit, killing 5 or 6 other dwarves, walling himself up in a room and crying himself to death.
That's what happened.
Just out of nowhere.
That's what happened. That's the book. All right. So anyway, you should read this because it's book club appropriate news.
So our government decided that they have to deal with a very serious problem. And they actually
so serious.
They actually got together and they put together a bill, as far as I can tell.
Is it passed?
It's not passed yet, but it's being put forward.
It's a federal situation.
So it is called the CALM, the Commercial Advertisement Loudness Mitigation Act. So the CALMA.
So this is because commercials on TV purposefully make their audio louder than the TV episodes, so they stand out. Right?
So here's my problem here. When did the first television enter American households?
Like the 450s.
So when
40s?
did ads start appearing on TVs?
Immediately, because they would have the people in the show, because all the shows were live, they would have the people stop doing the show and do a product promotion, right in the middle of the show, and the news tonight is blah, 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 and you should buy Wheaties. Check it out. I got a box of Wheaties from a guy who handed it to me off stage. You should buy this. Okay, back to the news.
Vitamin and Benjamin.
Yeah, okay.
So to skip the leading questions I was going to keep asking you, commercials have been way louder than everything else for fucking ever.
They didn't raise the volume on the commercials.
In the 80s, they were like that.
That's true.
All right, so
it's not that new, but it is.
70s, 80s, 90s, 2000s, 2010s. We're now in the era where broadcast television is on the way out. People are moving to the internet, and Congress is like, we are gonna deal with this problem now. We got this shit. We're gonna protect you from those buggy whips. The Buggy Whip Mitigation Act is here.
I mean, it's a good thing, right? But it's fixing a problem that's too old.
Yes, I mean, even worse, technology already solves this. It's trivial to just put a limiter or a compressor
A lot of
in a TV.
A lot of TVs have those.
My TV has that.
They have like a button you push, and it basically keeps all the sound, even. And
I don't have anything else to say about
Make
this.
sure the highs aren't too high and lows aren't too low.
Other than that, way too little, way too late, and this is why I'm so fed up with our government that this is their issue.
It's
right
all
now.
old people. They need to. I'm telling you, they need
Every
to.
generation gets into power and then tries to solve the problems of of when they were kids, and then they seem to forget that kids, when they're old, have other problems, and they seem to forget that they used to be the same way.
I think I finally, because I've been trying to figure out a way, right, how to get people out of government that are old, and I think I finally figured out a way. And I think the way.
Wait! I came up with so many jokes, but all of
No,
them are
I finally
kinda
figured out
ageist.
a reasonable way to get the old people out, right?
Just no elevators, all stairs.
No, ready for this?
All
This is
right.
the most reasonable idea yet. Okay, you ready? Are you sure? Okay.
I'm sure.
If you are going to be
Logan's wrong.
in government, like a mayor or a congressperson or whatever, you also have to have a job, a real job. So
Some places are like that.
Yeah, it's like if you are not employed, if you're retired, or if you're homeless, or you cannot be a congressperson. Or
All
whatever.
right, Scott.
It has to be something
Scott?
you do in addition to your real work.
I work as a consultant.
No, you have to have a real job that you actually work at 9 to 5.
Oh, so you're discounting lots of perfectly legitimate actual jobs?
It has to be a job where you're actually working, like for reals, not just I have a job on paper. You have to prove that you are working for reals.
I think you just have to be able to open a child-proof pill case.
But you see my point, right? If you don't have a real job that is your primary work that you are doing, and then what you do.
So then when are you going to have time to legislate if you're working 9 to 5 every
because
day?
you would also, when the young people got in power, we would put through the 2 months, 3 months guaranteed vacation, and you would use your vacation to govern.
So governing only happens 3 months out of the year?
If it's young people governing, they could get all the governing done in a week.
Scott, here's what always bothers me. Like, if I were the president of the United States, right? They always take all this vacation. They relax a lot. I've got at absolute most, if everything goes perfectly, 8 years in power.
Yep.
I would use every goddamn waking second of my life to call everybody on their bullshit 24/7.
You would be out of power before you could take a vacation.
I'd get at least 4 years.
Yo, they would impeach you just for being a jerk.
They could, but
Congress, as soon as you called the first person on their bullshit, everyone, because how many people are in the House of Representatives? Like 400 and something?
Johnson tried to do that, and they called him on his. It wasn't even bullshit. They called him. They're like, we're going to impeach you because you're a dick.
Yeah.
And he was like, bring it. And then they didn't. Because, anyway.
But nowadays, they totally would.
Was it Weber who voted against it? The one vote against impeachment? Whatever. I forget.
I don't know.
I read this book, Profiles in Courage, that talked about him a long time
And you
ago.
remember all these details from it.
Yeah. So things of the day.
I'm pretty sure I did this as a thing of the day, but
You can't remember?
no, but I don't have a thing of the day search yet.
If only we could search the things of the day.
Actually, I think I can. Let me do it.
I just tried. I searched. Well,
I think you can do it. I think you can do it in the
Yeah, I was saying you could hit the database.
No,
maybe.
in the admin part of the website.
All right, so you're gonna do this?
I'm already doing
I'm
it
not
right now.
editing out this.
Well, I
pause.
haven't done it apparently. Okay, so I thought I did this as a thing of the day, but apparently I did not.
Or the search didn't work.
No, it worked. So I don't know why I thought I did this as a thing of the day, but I didn't. And it was weird because it's a meme kind of video from College Humor. And when we were in Seattle, right? I was reminded of it, and I was like, you guys I did this thing of the day. You don't remember it? They're like, no. And I was like,
what was funny, you're walking by and you're like, I got it at Ross. And all of us look at you like, got what?
But anyway, it's this awesome music video to this rap song these guys did. The name of their band is Abraham Lincoln. And they have this song, I Got It at Ross. And
Ross.
Ross is, my grandma's last name, but it's also the name of this bargain discount store out west. It's basically like Marshall's in the East Coast. It's like a place you go to get cheap clothes and crap.
Oh, wow. I realize I've never in my life been inside a Ross or a Marshall's.
Yeah, it's basically like a bargain basement kind of clothing store, right? So the whole song is about how
He got it at Ross.
Yeah, you'd be stupid if you paying right $1 zillion for clothes. It's like, clothes, please, you tripping, And he's like, think I'm about to spend my whole check, please. So he goes to Ross. And
dude, where'd you get those nonstick pans?
I got it at Ross. And it's I always like hip hop and rap songs that are like about just a generic topic. Like, it doesn't have to be nerdcore hip hop,
or
it could
just
be
something funny. And
yeah, I mean, the thing is,
metal joints.
because almost every rap song, right, from the 80s and 90s, it would, in general, right, is about butts. That's okay. Drugs and crime and screwing and killing people. Not so interested, right? But there's a few out there that are actually about stuff. It's about a particular thing, like a robot or something like that, And those are the ones that I like best, lyrically at least. And this
like being on a boat.
Yeah, exactly. Like, I'm on a boat. There you go. This is the same kind of deal. So I like this song, and it's the thing of the day. Much delayed.
All right.
And I got it at Ross.
You got it at Ross.
My yoga DVDs.
So my thing of the day, because Scott and I know about this guy. I learned about him not a long time ago, 3 or 4 years ago. I ended up on a Wikipedia page about him, and I was like, oh, this guy's awesome. The King of Jordan is an awesome guy.
Oh, yeah.
And if you did not realize that King Abdullah II of Jordan is an awesome guy, you should watch this Daily Show episode I'm linking to.
Oh, and his wife? Hot.
Yeah.
Daughters?
Yeah.
I think he has hot daughters, too.
I don't know much about that, but if you don't watch The Daily Show already, I'm not saying you have to watch The Daily Show. This one episode is really good because he sits down with Jon Stewart.
This King of Jordan actually came to... Oh, that's right, because he was at the UN.
UN.
That's because last week, everything was all backed up with the traffic, all these fucking UN bastards.
Yeah, they have that, like, lane. I'm still... The guys who went down the street with those machine guns. Not submachine guns.
Were they there for the King of Jordan? I mean, it's weird to see who has more and who has less security than other guys, right?
Yep.
Yeah.
So... he's on The Daily Show, and he does a really sober interview about the state of the Middle East right now in Israel and Palestine, and how basically today's the day. Today, September 30th, is the deadline for the settlement issue. And he says straight up, if they walk away from the table, there's going to be war in the Middle East, major war, within a year.
Probably.
Absolutely 100%.
Probably.
And the interview is fantastic, and there's an extended interview, and it's fantastic. I don't think I need to talk about why is Jon Stewart, the comedian, doing more poignant and real interviews than anyone in the so-called legitimate press or any of that bullshit. But I'll point out something else. Obama was giving people shit at the UN, and they talk about this here. He calls out North Korea for enslaving their population and Congo for raping people while they're in the audience listening to his speech.
Yeah.
But he calls out Israel on the settlement issue, and they're not even fucking there. You know why? They're celebrating Sukkot or whatever.
Oh, because it's the holiday.
Yeah. So
Sukkot is actually, let me talk about Sukkot for like a minute. Is
that the one with like the palm and the...
Yeah, it's actually a fun holiday, right? You get to build a little hut in your backyard, right? And you get
like lemon and salt or something?
You get like a frond and this lemon thing. It's called the lulav and the etrog, right? I think the etrog is the fruit. It's kind of like a lemon, but not exactly.
It sounds like something I'd get 500 experience
and
for
the lulav is the frond. And you wave the frond, and I guess you do something with the fruit. And you get to go eat dinner in this little hut in your backyard every night. It's totally chill, And that's the thing. It's like they come up with these awesome holidays that is just like party time. It's like, oh man, what are we gonna do on this holiday? I know. Let's eat fruit. Because I mean, in the middle, if you're in the desert, fruits are luxurious, right? It's like, oh, sweet fruit. Yes, they didn't have candy then, right? So it's like, yeah, eating fruit, that'd make an awesome holiday. All right, we'll save up all the fruit and eat it on this awesome day.
Well, hey,
wait, I got a better idea. On this particular holiday, we got to dip the fruits in the honey. Oh, shit, fruit and honey is like the best fucking holiday. You're shitting me.
So,
no, I am not shitting you. In fact, it is mandatory for everybody to eat fruit with honey on it on this holiday.
But Scott, where did the Israelites get all that fruit?
From the Greeks? I don't know.
I set you up. I set you up and you didn't bite. They got it at Ross.
Oh, shit. So cheap that's almost free.
There were multiple layers to that joke.
All right.
So very briefly, the meta moment. This is probably the last book club episode that's going to be as a Thursday episode. We're splitting it off.
Yeah, I'm gonna make a book club section on the website, and that will contain the book club. right? And those book club episodes will still be in the Geek Nights feed, but they're not going to have news or things of the day. It's just going to be book club episodes. And it's going to be all, it's not going to be a Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, or Thursday.
But this weekend on Saturday at Kinokuniya in New York City.
In Bryant Park.
Yep, from 4 p.m. to 7 p.m. There's a pre-New York Anime Festival event with a whole bunch of cool stuff going on. We'll be there from 6:30 to 7 doing the New York Anime Festival, New York Comic Con pregame show.
When does the event start, though? Like 4?
It starts at like 4. There's food and
Yeah,
all
do we
this
want to
stuff.
get there at 4?
I don't know. The only official thing we're doing other than eating the food is talking from 6:30 to 7, and then from 7 to 7:30, I think the New York Anime Festival people are going to be there. They're going to give away a bunch of free passes and stuff like that.
All right. That sucks if you already bought your pass, which you probably should have done.
Probably should have. If you go to
AnimeCon,
any con, you should buy your badge.
Yeah, but then what's the point of winning a free one?
Yeah, give it to someone else.
I don't know. Hopefully you can sell it and buy stuff at Kinokuniya instead.
So second, speaking of buying badges, you should pre-register for PAX East. Even if you're not sure. If you're not sure you're going to go, it's going to sell out. You're allowed to resell the badges straight up. So even if you are 1%.
In fact, it is encouraged that you resell the badge as long as you're doing it legitimately and you're not doing it for more than what the badge costs.
If there is even a 1% chance that you think you might go to PAX, just buy your badge.
PAX
Pre-register.
East.
Yeah,
PAX East.
PAX West
2010.
too, but pre-reg isn't open for PAX West 2011 yet.
No. So pre-reg for PAX East now. Just go to the website and buy badges, and you'll get the badge in the mail. And you know what? If it turns out that you can't go, there will be someone who wants it. The pre-reg is now. Do it now.
Now, also along those lines, we're going to be doing, way back, we did a PAX East survival guide because PAX East was new. And this coming PAX East, PAX Boston, Bitch PAX, it is in an entirely...
I think it's not Bitch PAX, it's Bitchin PAX.
It is going to be in yet a different venue because the Heinies is way too small.
This is going to be very shaky.
So we're going to do an addendum to our PAX East survival guide with updated survival info.
Then you're going to need the survival info because let me tell you, this PAX East will be most dangerous.
It's going to be off the hook.
The most dangerous.
It's going to be way
You know how you
big.
know it's off the hook? Okay.
I don't know what you're going for.
You know when a phone gets off the hook, it goes.
Oh, yeah.
That's what off the hook means.
And last but not least by any stretch, the New York Comic Con New York Anime Festival itself is next weekend, October 8th, 9th, and 10th in New York City in the Jacob Javits Center. We will be there on Friday night doing a panel from 7:15 to 8:15 p.m. Anime you never thought you'd like in room 1E14.
Also, the 10-10-10 Burning Wheel Convention is the same 3 days, but I think it's all filled up, so you can't go if you're not already going. And Friday night, October 8th, is board game night. And
We will not be there, but you should be there. Unless you want to come to our panel at the New York Anime Festival, New York Comic Con.
I can't think of anything else better right now, so...
I feel like we should do the entire meta moment in that voice every time.
Micro Machine Guy does meta moment.
Micro Machine Guy's like twice as fast.
Micro Machine meta moment.
That guy talks like twice as fast as even us.
He's like the most professional fast talker in the world.
Yeah.
You know what?
Didn't
He
he
could
die?
totally... I don't know, but you know what? He could
I think he's dead.
He could do the awesomest Axe Cop cosplay now that I think about it.
Oh my God.
That would be the best Axe Cop. Except maybe like Burt Reynolds or whatever.
So, the book club itself.
Yes. Do we want to talk about the next book club first, or do you want to do that after?
Maybe we should do that first.
It's up
Maybe
to
we
you.
should do it as a separate thing.
It's up to you.
It's up to me.
Yeah, it's up to you.
Okay, I say it's up to you because it was up to me. I can do whatever I want.
All right, let's try doing the next book club before we do the book club.
All right, and
because that way, the way I'm thinking, the reason I came up with that decision is because then maybe people who haven't read the current book that we're about to talk about, the Golden Apples of the Sun, they can get the value out of this episode and just stop instead of having to fast forward if they want to know the next book club.
So I just want to point out this book is all Scott.
This book is all me. All right, so basically, lately for the past 2 or so book clubs, I've been choosing books with the intent of getting the readers to read. I'm not picking them for me. I'm picking them for the people. I'm like, what book will get people to read? I picked Loch Lamora, not because it's the greatest book in the world, but because it was way fun. And I'm like, people will read something that is fun and fantasy. They're nerds. They'll read this. I picked, what was the book I picked before that? I don't remember, but I picked something short. Because I was like, this is short. They'll read it because it's easy and short, right? So this time, I'm like, people will read this book because it's such fan service, as in us serving the fans of Geek Nights, or at least a particular portion of the fans
Okay,
of
John
Geek Nights.
Mashida is still alive.
Oh, nice.
as far as I can tell.
So anyway, this book also was recommended to us in by the Mark O'Sullivan in the Vanilla interview. But anyway, the book is called World War Z, An Oral History of the Zombie War by Max Brooks, who is the author of the Zombie Survival Guide. It is a New York Times bestseller. And let me tell you, I predict that this book will not be so good. Even though it is a bestseller and has all these quotes on it from New York Times Book Review and Onion AV Club and Entertainment Weekly, and it's a bestseller and all this stuff, right? I'm not have high expectations, but I'm not judging it because I haven't read it. I'm just saying the expectations, they are low. But I think that because it is a zombie book and the zombies are so much loved by the fan base of Geek Nights, and they're constantly asking us for a zombie episode, and they just
Never happening, by the way.
they just can't deal, they can't get enough of this shit, right? That this book will be up their alley. And you know what? It's not a sports page and it's not a magazine. It's a book. And you know what?
A fucking book.
Even though it might be, I expect, not a good book, they're gonna read a book. If they read this book, they'll be reading a book. So that's good. It's better than not reading a book. So hopefully, by going with the fan service route, I can get the people to read a book. And you know what? Also, it sort of goes in line with the fact that more recently I've been, branching into the things I'm not good at, like playing a StarCraft, and that sort of thing. Trying to do the genre I'm not good with, right? So I'm going to read the book that I probably would never want to read almost ever, just to show that I am not the knocker before trier, right? And then after this book, I think I'm going to go back to just picking books that are actually good and I actually like. And I'll give up on trying, because I've tried 3 different methods to get people to read, and if they have not become book readers after the 3 methods or however many methods I've tried, they're not gonna. So I'm gonna go back to good books again after this one.
So I chose Ray Bradbury's Golden Apples of the Sun, the book we're talking about now, primarily because I had read some Ray Bradbury, but I hadn't read a lot.
I read Fahrenheit 451.
Yep.
That's pretty much it.
But I hadn't read a lot of his, short stories, especially these ultra short stories. They're like WarioWare stories.
Oh, sweet.
But I got the impression when I think about it and I look at what people say about science fiction authors, I don't think many people really are able to differentiate between Heinlein, Asimov, Bradbury, all these different people. I don't think a lot of people actually know that they had very different styles of writing.
Well, I mean, because nobody reads enough, very few people who aren't nerds read enough of all of them to sort of, figure out the styles and compare them and contrast them, because if you read just one book by someone, you need to read like at least 3 or 4 books by one person to sort of see the commonalities to figure out what are the trademarks of their style.
Except,
like if you just see one Mamoru Oshii movie, how do you know that dog is a trend? You don't. You don't know that. But if you watch 3, you see the dog every time, you go, I got you, Oshii. I see you.
Prince of
I
Nothing,
see what you did there.
The first Prince of Nothing book, you're like, all right, really into rape. Second and third book, yep, that's a trend.
Yeah, So if you just read like, one Asimov book, or even like if you read Foundation Trilogy, it could just been a Foundation Trilogy thing. If you just read, Tolkien, Lord of the Rings, and you don't read a Silmarillion or a Tom Bombadil, what the fuck? You don't know what's a Tolkien thing and what's something he did in just that book.
At the same time, I could not force myself to read the Silmarillion, and I tried.
I read it.
I got bored.
Oh,
I
man,
just didn't care.
Man, I could tell. You know what? Talking about remembering things from book, you want to know about like a Iluvatar and the Maynor and the Aenor and all that shit? I can bring it down. Anyway, a Silmarillion book club. Yeah, what are you gonna do about that?
Read it unhappily. I kind of want to do The Hobbit. I haven't read The Hobbit since I was in like 3rd grade.
It's too much poetries and shit. Anyway,
I like that stuff.
Yeah.
Well, maybe we should do an animation club once and we'll watch the cartoon Hobbit.
No, I'll read it first.
But Golden Apples of the Sun, if you guys didn't know, is from a Yeats poem. Not Keats. From Hyperion, Yeats.
Oh,
Different
wow.
guy.
I didn't even. Okay, you got to educate me about this.
Really? You didn't know about Yeats?
I knew the name Yeats, but actually I was like, if you would not have clarified just then, I would have been like, oh, Yeats from Hyperion.
Wow. Okay. So to be fair, I'm not nearly as cultured.
Was he friends with Goeth?
Yeah, they directed Psycho.
Okay.
So until about 5 years ago, every time I heard Yeats, I thought, oh, you mean Keats? And every time I heard Keats, I thought, oh, you mean Yeats? and I thought they were the same person because they wrote kind of similar poetry.
With the yeast.
But Yeats is probably one of my favorite poets ever. Just I really like Yeats. You can learn all about Yeats if you want.
All right.
But he has a poem, a short poem. The last stanza of it reads, "Though I am old with wandering through hollow lands and hilly lands, I will find out where she has gone and kiss her lip and take her hands and walk along among long dappled grass and pluck till time and times are done the silver apples of the moon, the golden apples of the sun."
Oh, I got you.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It says golden apples of the sun. That's how it ends. It's very relevant to the last story in the collection of short stories, The Golden Apples of the Sun, which
Lucky
coincidentally is called The Golden Apples of the Sun.
Ah, gasp. All right. So you want to talk about that? You want to go through the stories one? Actually, I want to talk about one thing that's should we do that first or last? The things that are common among all the stories.
Let's get all over the place. One thing that I like is the illustrations in the book. They're very stark.
Yeah, each story has exactly one illustration, and they're pretty good because they sort of let you. They're at the beginning of the story, so you sort of know. Because the titles don't usually give away that much, but if you read the story, then the title makes sense afterwards. And so the picture at least gives you sort of some idea what that story is going to be, what the setting is going to be at least.
The pictures just, I don't know, I like the style. They're very stark and thick-lined, and I don't know, they remind me of
it's the kind of thing that you can print in a cheap old paperback.
Yeah, I mean, this thing originally came out in like 1953.
Wow, it's old.
And it's a collection of all sorts of
stories. And Ray Bradbury's
stories.
alive.
I mean, it's a collection of stories he wrote in the 40s and 50s.
Damn.
Yeah.
Damn.
And it really puts it in perspective. Kind of like reading Snow Crash and going, that was pretty crappy. And then looking back and seeing when it was written and going, oh. It's kind of the same way here. Like, oh, yeah, when you wrote this, World War II
was happening.
Yeah.
it was then.
Recent memory.
At the same time. Anyway, no, the one thing that I noticed in all the stories, the one common thing at least, was this sort of literary technique he used, at least if not in every story, in many of them, where he wouldn't explicitly set the setting or tell you who the characters were or anything like that. He would just sort of there would be a scene and he would just start telling you the verbs, like someone was doing something. And as they would do something and as they would interact, you were able to easily, unless you're retarded, figure out what was going on, right? Like there was a story, like
the pedestrian. Guys walking, looking in houses, everyone else is watching TV. Oh, I see where he's going. I see where he's going.
Yeah, or there's the one with the girls who their boyfriend moved to Mars or whatever.
Oh yeah.
Yeah. And so it's like they got a letter from the boyfriend and they read it and then they were like, oh, and it's sort of like you were like, oh, the boyfriend's on Mars. He didn't say here. He could have summed up the whole story. Literally, there are these girls. Their boyfriend moved to Mars. That's the whole story.
The story of embroidery is world's fucked. Old ladies wait for it.
Yeah, old ladies are sitting on the porch embroidering, and then nukes go off. That's the whole story. That's all that happens, right? So how do you extend that to a good quality 3 or 4 page short story? And basically, he's basically he doesn't explicitly come out with such the kind of bland language I would use because I can't write for shit. He's like, here's an old lady and she's talking, and he just has the old ladies just start discussing things, and they're just talking to each other.
That one in particular reminded me very much of Hills Like White Elephants.
What's Hills Like White Elephants?
Oh, never mind then.
Okay. Anyway, I want to, at least talk about each story at least once a little bit, right? Wait, here, let's do this. Which one did you think was the awesomest?
See, it's tricky because I like some for the style, and I like some not necessarily for the style or the story itself, but for the message of the story.
All right, so why don't you could give the best in each category.
Straight up, the story that I think is the most relevant or the one that I would probably use in arguments or quote at people the most.
Oh, the one that has the best message.
Hands down is The Flying Machine.
I had to agree. Message-wise,
it's
The
just
Flying
for the line
Machine.
at the end where the Emperor is, he murders the guy and he's like, all right, I've murdered the guy. Everything's safe. And then it's just like, and then the Emperor regarded the birds.
Yeah.
And it's like, does the Emperor get it? If he does or if he doesn't, he's fucked. The Emperor might as well be the RIAA. It's such a perfect story. And it's the fact that he wrote this 50 years ago and nobody has learned this lesson today.
I know, right? I mean, basically, the flying machine is about this emperor of
Well,
China.
you've all read the book. It's not like we need to explain to you what the stories are.
Oh, hopefully, yeah. But the point, the whole thing, this guy's invented a flying machine, and he's like, oh my God, the flying machine obsoletes my Great Wall. I need to make sure this technology doesn't get out, because then my Great Wall is fucked. It's like, so I'll kill the guy. I'll punish the guy who's using the flying technology. It's like, dude, the flying technology's out of the bag, right? The birds. Anyone can look at the birds and figure it out. Your Great Wall is already fucked.
The more deep message, I think, is simply that any truth can never be hidden, because truth about a fundamental universe is fundamental truth. It's a tautology.
Yeah.
If it can be derived, if it can be deduced, it can be deduced.
It will be, yes. And, it's sort of weird because on the Emperor's side, right, you can take it as sort of the message of the greater good message, which is like, maybe even if you agree with that, it's like, okay, even if we should go for the greater good, right, what you should do is not kill the guy, but use him to figure out a way to stop flying machines.
Or take it from when back in the day we made PGP and encryption, well, GPG and all that, munitions, and it was illegal to export to certain countries. So, all right, you're saying that there's nobody smart on the bad guy side who can figure out math?
Yeah, right. And it's like, okay, so I won't send the actual software to Europe on a disk or anything. But you know what? This professor called that professor on the phone, and now he knows, and then they just wrote the same exact software.
Even without calling. It's not like people can't figure it out.
He just looked in the academic journal, which is published freely around the world.
In terms of stories that I found amusing, the first one, The Foghorn, was the most amusing, I think.
Yeah, I mean, in terms of just the
Just because it had the Cthulhu feeling.
In terms of just the physicality of what happened, right? I mean, it had action. This freaking dinosaur comes from out in the bottom of the sea and smashes lighthouse.
But it also felt very Cthulhu-y and very interesting, and the scene was very well set and very well described. And it was kind of funny of, what the thing wants, but also very poignant of how sad that is.
Yeah, it's like, oh, Nessie. The one that I actually thought was the most sort of fun to read was the Fruit at the Bottom of the Bowl. Right?
I like
where
that
this guy, he basically, right, he does that same trick where he doesn't tell you exactly what happened. You sort of figure out that he murdered this dude, right? And he's like super paranoid that he's left his fingerprints somewhere. And he's got to doubly make sure he didn't leave him somewhere. So he goes around and he's polishing the whole apart house, every single thing.
I love how they do not say that he went into the attic, but yet at the end they found him in the attic.
Yeah, exactly, right? And he's just polishing every single thing in the whole house, and he's flashing back to, he's like, that dude knew I was gonna kill him, and he tricked me into touching everything in his house. And it shows you, how this guy not only murdered someone, but was so crazy in his mind and so obsessive that he had to cover up this murder, and it took him so long to cover it up that he got caught in the morning and went to jail.
If he obsessed over that, he must have obsessed over other
Yep, he was the obsessive kind of personality is what led to murder.
In fact, I would really say it wasn't science fiction. It was just a really interesting vignette.
No, not all of these were science fiction. I don't think he claims that all of them were science fiction either.
I mean, the one with the witch and the invisible boy was really funny.
Oh yeah, that was just sort of like a fable almost.
Yeah.
Right? Of was she actually trying to trick him to eat him or not? It's I couldn't, or did she really just want his company?
I think she was just a lonely old lady.
Yeah, she's a lonely old lady. She tricked this boy into thinking he was invisible to keep him around, right? But then eventually, the invisible boy started, he was fooling around with his invisibility, and she couldn't take it anymore. So she got rid of him, and then she was lonely again.
The April Witch one was really cute.
I don't know how cute that was.
It was neat. I mean, it had a little message. It wasn't. It was a departure from the rest of the stories.
The other one,
it was more whimsical.
Yeah, the one where what's it called? Because weren't there two? There was the one where the April Witch is where she possesses someone to learn about, right? Because she wants to fall in love with some boys.
Yeah, but at the same time,
right?
she kind of makes them fall in love, and you can talk about, it's springtime, 5th of May.
Yeah, but then the Great Fire, right? That one
was about getting it on.
That one was about getting it on, right? Is these people, they really wanted to get this girl out of the house. So, they're like, oh, she's got a boyfriend. Hopefully they'll get married. Yeah, hopefully. But they didn't want to interfere because they might ruin it or embarrass her or something. and they failed to notice that she was getting on with like every boy in town. And it was like, oh yeah. And only grandma knew what was up because grandma actually went out on the porch and was like saying hi. Go grandma.
The dinosaur one was not particularly good, but it gets points for being kind of dumb in a fun way.
Oh, the time safari?
Yeah.
Forget the time safari. That was just sort of
reading it, I was like, really? Really?
Yeah, and it was
Really?
so and then the fact that, okay, they messed up history and they came.
But I like how the guy was
came to
like,
the
you
future.
asshole.
And when they came to the future, all they changed was like the political result. It's like, really? That doesn't
Yeah, but I
really-
like how the other guy with him is like, you fucking asshole.
They were just so upset about which guy became president.
Well, there's a bad guy.
Yeah. Actually, the one, the gold.
I figured the one you would like the most would be the one about the guy who didn't like to watch TV.
That one, and just in terms of having something relevant, was the TV one, but it wasn't really that as good as, like, say, the one that reminded me of Civilization, the Golden Kite and the Silver Wind.
Oh, yeah. That one
guy-
surprised me. I thought it was going to be more complex. I thought that it was a trick by the advisor to get the one nation to keep rebuilding its
I
walls
thought so,
until the
too.
people retired, then they'd invade. Or he'd be like, you must make a wall like the wind because then blah, blah, blah. And then as soon as there's no wall because it's like the wind, invasion. And the fact that that didn't happen took me aback.
Yeah, I know, right? I thought it was going to be one of those trick ones where a guy, but instead it was pretty much, I made a wall, and then you made a wall to beat my wall. And then it was rock, paper, scissors back and forth until they cooperated. So it's sort of a prisoner's dilemma thing.
Yeah, but the
where it's like,
moral was, assholes, if you both write apple, we're all better off. If you write orange, we're fucked.
yeah.
That's it. Because that's true.
Yeah, and it's pretty much one guy would write orange, then the other guy would write orange again.
Double orange.
Orange at the bottom of the bowl.
So you know why I always use the apple-orange analogy? Because there are probably better analogies. I use that one because that analogy was used in a choose-your-own-adventure I read in, like, 2nd grade. And that taught me the prisoner's dilemma. And that started me on the long road to game theory. I remember when I started reading game theory, right? Like in high school and then at RIT when I got that scary book of game theory. It was like Prisoner's Dilemma. And I was reading it and I was like, wait a minute. I know this.
Actually, to continue, there's one story that I sort of disagreed with the message, right? The Pedestrian was about the guy who didn't watch TV. He just walked around town.
Oh, I know exactly what you're
And
going to talk about
everyone
with the earpieces.
Right, and everyone else watched TV, so he got like arrested for being, totally fucked up by the one automatic police car. But the murderer was about this guy who just couldn't stand all this technology everywhere, like making noise, and he just wanted it to shut the fuck up.
I do agree with the message of that one.
I do not.
Because I think you misunderstand the message. Here's what I got out of it. That guy, his Luddite bullshit is crazy.
Yeah.
And he is the bad guy of that story.
I don't know.
Here's my rationale.
I think it's
here's
definitely. I definitely think Ray Bradbury is the kind of guy who would be like, shut up your phone.
No, but at the same time, my rationale is that for this, at least my reading of it. Now, this
what's
may
weird
not
is they
be-
wrote this in what year? Cell phones weren't even on the chart.
I know Ray Bradbury was a very intelligent. Well, is a very intelligent person.
You think that someone wrote this to complain, like an old man wrote this recently to complain about cell phones and iPods and shit?
No, he might as well be complaining about Twitter. I could probably change some proper nouns, and you would not even be able to know that it was written.
50 plus years ago.
Yeah.
60 years ago.
Oh my God.
Yeah.
But the way I read it, whether or not Ray Bradbury intended it, because if you ignore what his intent may or may not have been and read it, it is easy to read this as this dissatisfied guy and the people who identify with him are the ones who haven't adjusted. And everyone else has adjusted and is using this technology to their advantage, and they just think this guy's crazy because he is crazy.
I don't know. You know what I think it is that in almost any sci-fi, Twilight Zone, anything like that, right? You generally have this sort of society, and then you have the one guy, and the one guy is always the thing that's right, and society is always crazy, right? It's almost never the reverse of that. It's like, look at like Brave New World. The one guy is like, all right, this Brave New World is crazy, and everyone else is like, oh, drugs and feelies, fuck yeah, and it's like, you look at like a Twilight Zone, and it's like this one guy, and then the whole world explodes except for him. Of
course,
and then his glasses break.
The Burbs, if you ignore just because I watched it again recently, if you ignore the last like 30 seconds of the movie, is the same kind of thing. The one guy, no, that one guy is just crazy.
Again, yeah. It just seems usually in the vast majority of sci-fi, if there's one guy, just like in
If Jeff Goldblum
The Pedestrian,
says it, then he's right. That's it.
Like in the second story, The Pedestrian, right? The Pedestrian is the guy who knows what's up, and all the other people in society are the ones who are not good, They always portray society. They always put the evil thing or the bad thing onto society, and they put the good thing onto the one protagonist character. They never put the bad things on the protagonist character and the good things on the. Well, I guess actually in The Murderer, they put the good things on the side.
I guess I just saw the story of The Murderer as being a little more even in the sides.
Yeah, it didn't. The thing is,
mostly because of the end.
The adjectives that they used to describe all the beeping and the buzzing wristwatches and the machines, though, were generally negative and annoying type.
Oh yeah,
of
but at the same
things.
time,
They didn't spend. You didn't spend a lot of time talking about how these things were helping people. They spent a lot of time discussing how they were annoying and bothering.
But if you read
people.
it from a transhumanist perspective, reading that made us feel annoyed. It made me feel really annoyed at these talking things. I probably would have smashed him too.
Yeah.
Because I don't need. We have better ways of doing that. I have my phone with a screen. But it's more the idea that if you read it from a transhumanist perspective, that guy harkens back to our era. And people from our era would not deal well with the future era with all these different ways, this totally different societal framework.
Maybe.
And I guess the fact that the professor is looking at this guy like, wow, he's crazy. He walks out, picks up a new phone, a new thingy, and just continues his business like, whatever. I don't care. I'll ignore that guy.
All right, actually, there was one. Were there any ones that you just didn't get? You were just like, because there was one for me that I was just like, what?
Golden Apples of the Sun?
No. The one that I was just like, "Whoa," was the Powerhouse one.
I don't know. I don't have anything. I don't remember much about that one.
Yeah, right. It's like because basically the whole story.
I got the book here. Let me see if I can jog my memory.
Basically, they went and they went. There was this powerhouse, and I thought it was going to be about getting electrocuted or some shit. But basically, it was like they were traveling and they spent a night in this electrical building.
All right, this was a long one. It was like 5 pages.
And then they left, and then she was like, "Oh, can we come and spend a night here again?" Okay.
The best I got out of it was that maybe demystification makes people less afraid of things.
It didn't seem like they were afraid. I don't know.
I don't know either.
Yeah, I just didn't.
I read this. The thing is, I read this whole compilation a long time ago, so I'm trying to remember details of that story.
I just didn't. I didn't get it. I don't know. Maybe someone get. I got all the other ones.
I'll read it again.
Yeah. Oh, you know which one was fun? Was the meadow, right? Where the guy.
I really liked that one.
He's trying to save the movie sets from being torn down. And
but again, Ray Bradbury, it wasn't obvious it was movie sets right away.
No, of course not, right? But what was really cool was that it's sort of that thing happens that you always want to happen but never does in any other story, where he basically gets the producer over. He actually shows up. The producer actually goes and talks to him, and the producer's actually a reasonable guy. And then he's like, okay, we'll make good here. And they did.
Plus, they had a good picture with the dragons and him kind of as the knight. Look at this picture. That's a good picture.
I know, right? It's a high quality
I think
picture.
it's one of my favorite pictures from the book.
Yeah. It's definitely one of the better stories in there, I think, in terms of, just enjoyment and something I'll remember, too. I don't know if I'll remember the Powerhouse. What about the
baseball one I really liked, too. But it was just a good short story. The baseball one, the big black and white game.
Yeah.
Read, I feel like that's the kind of thing, if I was in, 4th grade, we'd read in class and then talk about.
You should read America, God's Gold and Golems by James Sturm.
That sounds up my alley.
Yeah, it's a comic. That was the guy I bought his Market Day comic, the newer one he came out with at the Mocha. He was there, remember? Or do you not remember?
I was about to say yeah, but then I realized I was remembering something completely different. Nah.
All right, so anyway, yeah, if a comic book says James Sturm on it, it's usually going to be a hardcover book. You're going to say you should buy that.
The one about letter writing, the great wide world over there, is so desperately relevant to old people dealing with the internet today.
Oh God, fuck! Oh
my God, to a degree that was startling.
Well, it's not just old people in the internet, right? You could take that as a metaphor for so many things today, where just people being behind the times, or people being uneducated and unable to, get with it, or people just being separated from the world as the world passes them by. And it's not just, that's only the stories you get if you look at the main character, the wife. I don't even remember her name, of course, right? But if you look at, say, the husband, who's just like, who needs that shit, right? People who don't even want to get with the times.
Yeah, the wife was the hero for at least wanting to get it, and for understanding the other old lady who was faking it.
And we're the visiting nephews, right?
Yep.
But the husband, he's like the villain, because he's like, fuck, He's like, fuck, everything we need in the world is on this farm. Let's concentrate on our farming.
But notice, what's one of the biggest problems we have today? Old people click on spam and listen to telemarketers because they're lonely, oftentimes. And look at what she does. She asks for spam just so she has something to read.
Yeah, right? And then how about the old lady next door, right? Who can't eat. She knows she's not literate, but she's pretending to be. Right? Just so she can pretend she's with the times, so she can feel like she's better than other people, and she'll have something to talk about with the next door neighbor.
That story, though, reminded me how optimistic I am about not necessarily our whole generation, but us, like you and me and all the people like us when we're old, 70s, 80s, maybe 90s, retiring. I'll never be bored when I'm an old man. I'll never...
Hell no. At the very least, right? Even if I'm grouchy and I hate everything new in the world and I think it's for the devil, I still have the 100, 200 years worth of entertainment media that I've consumed only a small portion of. So I can just read comics and watch movies and play video games until I'm dead.
Yeah, and if I can't play the video games anymore at all, and I have to go to like board games or get like robots to play the board games
the
for
ones
me,
that take the longest are the ones that need the least manual dexterity, like the JRPGs and shit.
Go to the nurse, like, just tape my thumb to this A button.
I might not be able to play Quake anymore, but goddamn it, I'm gonna play Final Fantasy
Scott,
30.
We'll still play Quake, but we'll only play with each other. That'll be awesome.
Old Man Quake. We should make a video of Old Man Quake. How are you, Sonny? Watch out, my rocket launcher. Oh, my finger, I can't. Oh, the finger's twitching. I can't hit the rocket. Okay.
I'll tell you what. Even if I'm 90, ground pound down, no one's ever going to beat me at that.
All right, let's talk about the garbage collector, right? If you were the garbage collector, right? I like this story because it, in one way, it showed like how you can have, sort of a regular old job like collecting garbage and find some joy and awesomeness in it. It's sort of just like Office Space, right? Just be a construction worker. And there are some days I feel like that, and then I remember I need rent, and those jobs don't pay as much.
Yeah.
But anyway. At the same time, though, it brings into this dilemma of, what if, suddenly your job isn't what you signed up for?
Well, that happens to a lot of people. I mean, look at in Vietnam, a lot of people who thought they were fighting a war worth fighting, and then they ended up, doing the things
like,
that
I didn't sign
Vietnam.
up for this shit. So what would you do if suddenly your work wasn't you signed up for? Would you quit and go away like the garbage man, or would you get used to the idea?
Well, there's the third way of going with it and trying to change it from within, which usually is a cop-out because usually people who say they're going to do that never do that.
Or they fail to do that.
There was a Choose Your Own Adventure in the Wild West a long time ago.
Wow, Choose Your Own Adventure is coming up a lot here.
And there's a bandit gang, and there are 3 choices with the bandit gang. 1,
fight the bandits, run away, shoot, and join the bandits.
Fight the bandits, join the bandits for real, join the bandits and pretend to be with them and then betray them later.
Uh-huh.
And if you join them for real, you die.
Okay.
But if you join them and pretend, you totally win.
Okay.
At least I think. I don't really remember that well.
What if you just try to fight them?
I think you die there too.
Oh. Sucks.
Yeah. But no, I don't know. I've never been in a situation. Well, the closest I got was when I worked for a company I worked for before I got to the company I work for now. Obviously not naming any names here. I took moral issue with what I thought that company was doing, and I fucking quit. Right quick.
All right, how about that?
In fact, I quit finger held high, blaze of glory.
Nice.
Yeah, so.
All right, let's see. Let me go down the list, make sure we didn't...
I think I've talked about everything that really... I did like the embroidery one. Because that was just very... I don't know, that story was very touching in a way that the rest of them weren't. And I was really kind of sad after reading that one.
Let's just cover the last few we didn't discuss, right? So the Sun and Shadow is the one where they're like, don't take your photos here, right? And on the one hand, it was sort of like, all right, I think the people should be able to take photos wherever the hell they want, especially
every time
on the street.
I see that goddamn note, like when I took my bike over the RFK, the Triborough Bridge, it was like, no photos, we'll prosecute, oh my God. So of course I took pictures of that and videos all over the place.
Oh yeah, of course. I mean, I have no problem taking photos, but the thing is I sort of agreed with the, that this guy wasn't upset with the actual act of photo taking. He was upset with that the fact that they were taking photos there showed their attitude towards him and his neighborhood and his neighbors. And, and I was sort of like, yeah, you're right. That guy does have the wrong, he's treating these people like they're, a set piece as opposed to treating, he's not thinking of them as human beings.
But at the same time,
he's like, oh, look at these quaint villagers. They will make an awesome photo background next to my, fashion model.
At the same time, I mean, that's our world now.
I know, right? So it's like, while I'm for taking photos wherever the hell you want, right? It is sort of, I am against that attitude of looking at people as if they are, not people, as if they are, set pieces or whatnot. And that was all right.
Yeah. Of course, we can solve that problem if Google, at least the direct problem, they won't know we're taking pictures of them because Google takes them from space.
Yep. So let's see. Oh, there was the one where the boy doesn't age.
Oh, yeah. You never read Everlasting Tuck, did you?
No, but it reminded me of that recent movie with the guy who ages backwards. The
one with Robin Williams?
No. The very recent one.
I don't think I saw this movie.
I saw it. It was like popular for like a couple weeks.
I was going to talk about Everlasting Tuck, which is a story about a family that just doesn't age.
Mm-hmm. It was a movie that was also based on a short story, and it basically, the beginning was full of excitement, but then the end of the movie was sort of like blah, whatever. Oh, why can't I remember the name of this thing? Someone in the forum is definitely going to know it immediately. Anyway.
Oh well. I don't have much else to say other than that. I hope you guys enjoyed this collection of short stories.
Well, what about Golden Apples of the Sun itself?
I don't know. That one didn't strike me other than that I like the way it was written.
Really? You didn't...
Like, I really enjoyed the way it was written, and I got a really powerful feeling from it.
Oh, I got this really strong message of, it's like, all right, you want to do something so awesome, right? It's like, you got to put everything on the line. It's like, it was like climbing Mount Everest almost, the same kind of
All
thing.
I could think reading it was, we're heading off to Iskandar.
Right, it's like, you're climbing Mount Everest. If someone dies, you leave them there. You know this is gonna be dangerous shit, but you know what? You're gonna fucking do it. And like it was so awesome. Like the one really clever thing where it's like they're going to the sun to get a scoop of the sun, right? And they go there, so of course they have a spaceship that's wicked cold. They have this ultra cold ship, and then they're in this ultra cold spaceship, and the spaceship is ultra cold, so it can survive the sun. But they need to survive in the ultra cold, so they've got protective suits to protect from the cold, because they can do that. They can insulate from that. Of course it's not realistic, duh, but whatever, right? And then this guy's suit breaks, and he dies from the cold when he's on the sun. I was like, oh, that's so awesome.
I guess the part I liked about that story was the whole we're going south, we're going north thing. And just that the captain is like, where are we going? North. And all the things like, what time is it?
Yeah, the thing is, if he was from the southern hemisphere, he'd have to reverse those directions.
But at the same time, his code is like north. It doesn't matter which direction you're going.
Well, I mean, you're going towards the sun or away from it. You know, that's it.
But think about the metaphor. Towards the sun converges on a place you can be, a destination that is a real destination. If that is south, then north, it doesn't matter which direction you're going because there's no destination. It's every direction. Everywhere but here is north.
Yep. That's cool.
Yeah, that's a vibe I like.
I also like the idea of fucking scooping the sun. And we know you can't do that, but
it's the thing I used to do when I was a kid is I would get in my bike and I would pick a direction and I would go as far in that direction as I possibly could.
Well, it's like you're at the North Pole. Everywhere you go is south.
Yep.
Unless you spin in a circle.
Yep, or you take one step south and now you can turn around and go back north. And east and west again. So, but I would literally pick a direction to go as far as I could in that direction, and eventually I had gone as far as I could in every direction, short of running away from home or not coming.
I was gonna say, really, how's that Pacific Ocean doing for you?
As in, I'd bike. All right, I'm 40 miles away from my house. I have to go back to my sophomore. I'm in high school. I have classes tomorrow. I'm 40 miles from home, and it's midnight. And I'm in the dark. I don't even know where I am because I didn't have GPSs back then.
Yeah, what would your GPS do if you're on the sun?
Melt. I think we're done here.
Yeah. It was fun doing a whole bunch of short stories because you didn't have to just find a whole bunch to say about one story. We could just say a whole bunch.
You can definitely tell that some stories affected me or Scott more because I'd have a lot to say about one, Scott have a lot to say about one.
There are some short story collections out there where every one is a smash, right? And there are other ones where this one really awesome one and the rest are kind of
The only one that was the dinosaur one, but it made up for that by being so stupid.
What the time traveling dinosaur one?
The Sound of Thunder.
Not the lighthouse dinosaur one.
No, the lighthouse dinosaur was awesome.
Yeah. That I don't know. I didn't the time
just for that moment at the end where he's like, "You fucker."
I mean, the time traveling dinosaur one is basically Jurassic Park, right? I mean, plus time travel.
Nah.
I mean, which is actually weird because Michael Crichton's like, he did Jurassic Park and Timeline. So he did a time travel and he did a dinosaur.
Oh, with night arrows. Does anyone remember Night Arrows?
I read the book, and you know what? I don't remember a single thing from it except that there was
They
went back to medieval times,
and there were night arrows.
I don't remember the night arrows.
Night arrows. So, Night Arrows is a shtick from movies you should see.
All right.
Remember that?
Yeah.
Where in the movie, at least, I never read the book. Movie fucking sucks, by the way. So they're fighting, the French, and the French are out there, and they're like, "All right, we've got to use the bad weapon. We're going to use night arrows." And everyone's like, "Oh, fuck, night arrows. Wow, what have we become? Night arrows?"
They just fire arrows on fire?
They're like, "This night arrows, I don't know if I'm comfortable using night arrows. This is like the worst weapon in the world." And then it cuts to like the French soldiers standing out there. And apparently normal arrows are just arrows that are on fire, so you can see them coming. Night arrows, they just don't light them on fire. So it cuts to the French soldiers, and they're like standing there, and suddenly like arrows fall, and like a soldier falls down with an arrow in him, and someone's like, "Night arrows!" It's just the dumbest thing ever.
Wow. Okay.
Yeah.
Who did that and thought it was for serious?
I don't even know if night arrows was a real chivalry thing or not. I don't know, but that is one of my favorite episodes of movies you should see, Simply Syndicated.
Yeah, but yeah, if you're if you like some of the stories in here, you should read anything else with Ray Bradbury's name on it.
Yeah, Ray Bradbury.
And I'm really, I read Fahrenheit 451. That's pretty much it.
He's very creative, and I feel like.
But what I wonder is if he uses that same technique of revealing the setting like that, in other works, or if it's just something he did in these set of short stories. Like, what other books has he written? I don't even know them. That's because I haven't read them.
And on that note, that was The Golden Apples of the Sun, Ray Bradbury. The next book is...
the World War...
Z.
Zombie.
World War Z.
Zombies. You're getting your zombies, all right? So
fucking
shut
zombies.
up.
I swear to God, you assholes, if this book isn't good...
It's probably not going to be good, but you know what? You asked for fucking zombies. You're getting your goddamn zombies, so you can shut up.
Son of a bitch.
And from now on, you're only getting what I want to give you. Here's the medicine you asked for.
Wait, you watch out, because if we're playing bad medicine again, I'm bringing out the fucking Suetonius.
What the fuck, Suetonius?
Or maybe the Odyssey.
You got to bring out something that's at least, all right,
Hey, but the Odyssey? You're saying the Odyssey isn't awesome?
It's pretty big.
It's not that big. The Odyssey's not that long, actually.
And what if the sirens... I heed their call.
All right, I'll bring out, I don't know, fucking War and Peace.
Fuck you.
Maybe the Le Comte de Monte Cristo.
Crime and Punishment.
Crime and Punishment is not that long either. It's actually really good. And actually, I think people really enjoy Crime and Punishment. It's the story of a guy who thinks he's the Ubermensch. He's fucking not the Ubermensch.
Why don't we do Tezuka's Crime and Punishment?
Yeah, I heard that's not that good.
No.
Wait, Ambassador Magma. There we go.
Ambassador Magma. We should do... what the fuck?
I feel like I should do
Dante's
the Golden Compass.
Inferno.
I didn't like Dante's Inferno. I didn't enjoy reading that.
Paradise Lost.
I didn't enjoy Paradise Lost either. Milton, fuck you. I don't like your writing. There's some Hawthorne. I got a lot to say about Hawthorne.
Why don't we do some
Scarlet Letter, Up-ins? This has been Geek Nights with Rim and Scott. Special thanks to DJ Pretzel for the opening music, Kat Lee for web design, and Brando K for the logos.
Be sure to visit our website at frontrowcrew.com for show notes, discussion, news, and more.
Remember, Geek Nights is not one, but 4 different shows. Sci-Tech Mondays, Gaming Tuesdays, Anime Comic Wednesdays, and Indiscriminate Thursdays.
Geek Nights is distributed under a Creative Commons Attribution 3.0 license. Geek Nights is recorded live with no studio and no audience. But unlike those other late shows, it's actually recorded at night.